This is Trey's Asylum from the Mos Eisley Irregulars, member of the Alliance Confederation of Guilds, and I'm going to be trying to provide some tips for using a TeeboTine attack. Now, this is an attack that requires a lot of patience and a willingness to retreat. I have retreated probably 30 times so far, trying to get a good setup. So what are we looking for in our setup? Well, when B2 takes his first turn, we're going to see which side droid he gives the special command to use their special. And he gave it to one of the regular B1 battle droids. That's what we want. We do not want him giving it to a droid commander, because the droid commander has a much more devastating special than the regular droids. We're going to use Teebo to slow down B2 a little bit when he can by taking away turn meter. We're going to have hAAT. His job is to take all of the counterattacks from B2 as well as any turns that the B1s get, and the first B1 battle droid just resisted the shock from Emperor Palpatine, so we're going to retreat and try again. We really need Emperor Palpatine to land those shocks on the first try, because that is going to feed him turn meter so that he gets to take a lot of turns and do a lot of damage. And if we don't get the shocks landed right away, then things just don't work out. And B2 has given the buff to a battle droid commander, so we're going to retreat and try again. The goal, anytime we go in to any phase of heroic hAAT, is to try to get your 2% damage to help your guild out. So we're starting with 24.23 here, so we want that health to be down at least to around 22% when we finish. And the droid commander got the buff, so we're going to retreat, try this again. Okay, so we have the first thing we want, and that's that regular B1 has that directed fire buff. We're going to use TIE Fighter Pilot, see if we can put an ability block on that droid to prevent him from using it. And we're also going to try to land as many debuffs as possible on these droids, because that will feed turn meter to TIE Fighter Pilot, and he and Emperor Palpatine are our primary damage dealers. We're also going to see if we can put a stun on the droid that has that command, because we want to delay him from using that as long as possible. Ideally, Royal Guard would have landed a speed down as well, but he doesn't always do that. Going to let Teebo slow down B2 a little bit when he can by removing turn meter. Have hAAT, so that he is taking fire from the B1s and from any counters from B2. And we did not land that first shock, so we're going to retreat and try again. Need to get those shocks up on the first try so that Emperor Palpatine can start taking turns and dealing damage to B2. Okay, so again, we have the first thing we're looking for, and that's the special command. We didn't get a slow or a stun, but we did get an ability block, so that is good. And we have debuffs on all 7 droids, which means we are now feeding TIE Fighter Pilot 70% turn meter every time he takes a turn. We have hAAT again. Now we're going to start trying to put shocks on. Gonna see if we can't, well, we got a speed down, but we didn't get a stun on that B1, unfortunately. We're not going to retreat just yet. We're going to see what we can pull off here. Now we got the stun on that B1 battle droid, so we're basically doing everything we can to slow down that droid and keep him from using his special. And you can see, because we have all these debuffs on everybody, TIE Fighter Pilot is taking a lot of turns, and you can see he's doing between 22 and 24,000 damage each turn. Teebo is doing work here, removing turn meter from B2. We've got the hAAT in the background there, gaining some turn meter. So far we have a really good setup here. We are going to hope that when that hAAT takes its turn, oh, we got to resist. Gonna see if we can recover from that, because we have such a good setup everywhere else. And he resisted again. Wow. That droid is bound and determined. He is not going to get shocked. Now, our problem, since we've missed 2, is we run the risk of other shocks expiring. But other things are going so well. We're going to see if we can get away with having two resists. Okay, we've got that B1 stunned again. And B2's next turn, he's going to be directing another droid. Hopefully he will do another B1 droid and not one of the droid commanders. But even if he does, we're probably going to keep this run, because we already have our 2%, more than our 2%. We're down to 20%, or 21%. So Okay, we have all six of our shocks up. One thing I do here, because some of these droids are getting turns, once I have all 6 of them up, I use Emperor Palpatine's special, Let the Hate Flow. The reason for this is I want to renew all of those shocks. I don't want any of them expiring. So even though he doesn't need to recover any health, and unfortunately it is going to take some turn meter or some health away from Han that he can't really afford to lose, we've got to make sure that those shocks stay. So now Palpatine and TIE Fighter Pilot are back to doing damage. We lost Han. Unfortunately, we lost Han without Royal Guard having his taunt up. And I'm going to take a chance here. See if I can put a stun on this battle droid commander that has a little bit of health left, just in case he gets... Yeah, didn't work anyway. But if he were the droid to get the special command, would have prevented him from using it, because now all those droids, almost all of them, are down to 1 health point, so we can't use Royal Guard to stun anymore. It will kill them. Oh, and that was lovely. This is going to be another really nice run here. The B2 battle droid just put the directed fire command on the same droid that already had it and that we already have stunned. That is perfect for us. And we're going to go back to laying down damage. Now, unfortunately, Palpatine is going to take some damage from counters until his health turns yellow. But okay, so now we've got Royal Guard taunting again. That's good. And we're back to dealing damage with our damage dealers. We have slowed down that hAAT in the back significantly now. So chances are it is, well, it might get another turn, but by then... Oh, man, we lost Palpatine, but we were at 24.22%, and so we've done almost 6% damage here, and TIE Fighter Pilot still has full health and protection. This is definitely a good run, and we are going to keep it even though we lost Palpatine a little earlier than we would have liked. TIE Fighter Pilot. Oh, well, that sucked. But again, we've got 6% damage that we've done, so we're going to let Teebo take a couple of shots. That B1 finally got to use his special, but we've had a successful run. 763,000 damage. That is huge for a TeeboTine run. Since we finally made it through, I'm going to go back now and talk a little bit about the mods that I use and why. because when we did our first run, I remodded probably 30 times to try and get the best damage that I could out of this attack. And you'll see here, TIE Fighter Pilot has done an outstanding 558,000 damage. Emperor Palpatine did 170. So, TIE Fighter Pilot by himself did 40. 2% is 240,000 damage. He has done about 4.5% all by himself. So we love TIE Fighter Pilot. Palpatine definitely does some damage. He got about 170 there. But TIE Fighter Pilot is our hero today. So most important here are the mods that I have on Palpatine and TIE Fighter Pilot. Now, I do not have critical damage mod challenges unlocked, so I cannot use those. I do have critical chance potency unlocked. I used 4 potency mods on Emperor Palpatine. Have his potency up to 94.5%. You can sacrifice potency for some other other stats on Palpatine. Just got to be willing to retreat when those shocks don't land. The main thing that I was looking for here is once he gets those shocks up and he's doing damage, we want him doing as much damage as possible. So you'll notice Emperor Palpatine is always doing special damage, and his special critical chance is abysmal. About 30%. Not horrible. Well, I just said abysmal, now I said it's horrible. It's not good, so he's not going to be critting all that much. So when he's doing his basics, and we want him putting down as much damage as possible. So I have gone for as much offense as I can on Palpatine, and I have put a critical damage triangle on him. If we go back and look at his stats, you'll see, we've doubled his potency. We've added an additional 518 to his special damage. And while it doesn't show it here, these mods are providing, through secondaries, are providing an extra flat 216 offense, as well as some percent offense increases. So our triangle has a little bit of offense, not much. We've got 89 flat offense coming from potency primary cross. We've got 61 offense coming from a health circle, and I'm using the health circle instead of a protection because of that extra offense that's on there, as well as the 7-speed. We've got some additional potency, health, and protection coming from the diamond. Another 28 offense, as well as percentage offense coming from the square. So that has Palpatine hitting as hard as he can when he does hit. TIE Fighter Pilot we have tricked out as much as possible with the mods that I have available to me, and we want TIE Fighter Pilot critting as much as possible. So, because he really does huge damage on his, when he crits. So we've got his critical chance up to 45.5%, and you saw he was critting quite a bit during our run, and when he would crit, he was hitting for anywhere from 22 to 25,000 each time, which is how he laid down the massive damage that we needed. And he does have potential to do a lot more damage. You'll see I only have him at gear 10 right now, and we're trying to work him up to gear 10. But I've used 2 critical chance sets and a health set. The health mainly I use because of the primaries and secondaries that are on it. So we've got 30 speed on him. And along with that, some extra health and protection. He is super squishy, so we want to help him out any way we can to stay alive. A little bit of extra critical chance on that arrow as well. Got a crit damage triangle on him, which also has a little bit of extra health. Some flat offense, which makes him hit a little bit harder. I have a protection cross on him. Potency can work here too to help land those debuffs. I prefer the protection. One, it has an extra 7 speed on it. Secondaries of health and 800 protection, so we're wanting to keep TIE Fighter Pilot alive as long as possible. We're going to get shocks. We're going to get debuffs from Emperor Palpatine eventually when all those shocks land. So at some point, TIE Fighter Pilot is going to get the full 70% turn meter gain on every turn. So that's why I don't do potency on the cross. I want him surviving as long as possible. Got protection on the circle. Nothing really special in the secondaries except for a little bit of extra critical chance, which we want happening as much as possible. On the diamond, we've got a little bit of extra health and significant amount of protection in our secondaries. Add in a little potency to help make those debuffs stick. And on the square, we've got some speed and, again, a bunch more protection. So TIE Fighter Pilot, I'm trying to keep him alive. Even more so than landing his debuffs. I want him staying alive, and I want him critting as much as possible. So I've taken what I have available to me and made him as beefy as possible and upped his chance to land those critical hits and given him some extra critical damage on the triangle. Royal Guard and Stormtrooper Han. I've gone primarily for survivability for them. Han, I've put some speed on because I want him to taunt as early as possible. But you'll see with his speed, he's getting quite a bit of protection from the secondary. Here, I've got protection on the triangle as well. Again, we want him surviving as long as possible because our tanks are protecting our damage dealers. Also got protection on the cross, got some speed on the cross, a little bit of potency so that we have a little bit better chance of feeding turn meter to the rest of our team. Protection on the circle, a little bit of extra health and speed there as well. Now, I only have a 4-dot mod for his diamond, and that is because I do not have a 5-dot mod that someone else on that team isn't using that can beat the extra 476 health and 517 protection. And then the 0.92% health on this 4-dot mod. So that's why I don't have a 5-dot there. And then on his offense square, again, protection, health, health, protection. Survival, survival, survival. That's what you want for your tanks. They need to stay alive and protecting your damage dealers. Royal Guard. I do have one potency set on him, which brings him up to 42% potency. Try to give him a little bit of help landing those speed downs and those stuns. And speed does not matter for Royal Guard, so he has a protection arrow instead of speed, which is good news. That is one character that can do without, does not have to have the speed. And Royal Guard also gains turn meter when he takes damage, or has a chance to gain turn meter when he takes damage, so it's another reason speed is not important. Even without the speed, you might have noticed Royal Guard was always going first. That's because those droids hitting him, when they take their first 6 turns, or each one takes their first turn, so it turns out to be 6 hits, they feed him some turn meter when they hit Royal Guard. And then he usually goes first and lays down, hopefully, that stun and speed down on a droid. So, got protection, some extra health on his arrow, got protection on his triangle with another 823 protection in the secondary, protection on the cross with protection secondary as well, protection on the circle with, again, some extra protection and health in the secondaries. The diamond got a whole bunch more protection, a little bit of health. And same with the offense. We've got some flat protection in there. So Royal Guard is modded for a little bit of potency, a lot of survivability. Royal Guard, at this point, only at gear 9. I'm working to get him to gear 10. He still needs stun cuffs along with just about every other character that I have. So he will get more survivability when I can level him, or get his gear level up. And Teebo, Teebo's job primarily is to provide the stealth from his leadership ability. So his mods are a little less important. You'll see I've got a lot of potency on him. It's because I do use Teebo for the Rancor, and I want him removing turn meter as much as possible. It's also good for him to remove turn meter from B2. And want him going as fast as possible during the Rancor, so I do have quite a bit of speed. Well, as much speed as I can get out of what I have available to me. By the way, I am mostly free to play. I've spent less than $50 on the game, and I've been playing since August of 2016. So, don't have the selection of mods that some people have, but I do what I can with what I have, and I'm not afraid to move mods for when I do the raids to get the best possible result that I can. So Teebo, we've got a speed arrow on him, a little bit of extra protection, always good to help keep him alive. Teebo's not going to do a whole lot of damage, but that's not his job, so we're not really worried about his stats for that. Now he is getting some critical chance here on the triangle, but in this case, it was the 11 speed I was looking for, more so than what the primary was. Because he doesn't do much damage, a critical damage isn't going to benefit him a whole lot. Personally, would have preferred protection on there to keep him alive as long as possible during the Rancor raid, but did not have a protection triangle with the higher speed secondary. Got potency on his cross. Again, I want him landing that turn meter reduction. Also have 4 speed on this one, trying to keep him moving as fast as possible in the Rancor raid. So Teebo, basically I've got Teebo modded for Rancor, but those same mods work for hAAT and a TeeboTine, because Teebo's main job in the TeeboTine setup is to provide stealth to my damage dealers and occasionally remove some turn meter from B2. So got protection and a little bit of potency on the circle, more protection, a little bit of health, and 14 speed on the diamond. And got a 3-dot mod here because of the 3 speed. That 3 speed actually makes enough of a difference in Rancor that I use a 3-dot mod, because I don't have a better 5-dot mod to pick up that speed right now. So hopefully this has been helpful to anyone who watches it, and I wish you luck with your TeeboTine attempts in Heroic Rancor or normal hAAT. I'm sorry, not Heroic Rancor, Heroic hAAT. This also works in normal hAAT if your guild is still working toward that. The one thing that you do have to keep an eye on if you're doing normal is you actually want Emperor Palpatine's damage as low as possible. The reason for that is in normal, those B1 droids on the side are super squishy, and if you get Emperor Palpatine's damage up for normal, you're going to kill the droids instead of shocking them, and that's not what you want. So that's the main difference between normal and heroic when you're using a TeeboTine, is how much damage you want Emperor Palpatine doing in that. Again, hopefully you found this helpful. It did get kind of long, but if it helps somebody, then I've done my job. This is Trey's Asylum from Mos Eisley Irregulars, out for today. Maybe. Hit the stop button.